crazy satanic cult that is way too spicy to give you all the details on YouTube, caught in the most interesting way. Okay, so this is being reported by the New York Post, and man, this is
Darkness.
complete darkness. Okay, check this out. How NYC gun arrest uncovered a huge file pedo satanic cult. All right, this is a real story, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so let me scroll down here. It says, the arrest of a Queens man on gun charges 2 years ago has led federal authorities to discover the discovery of a satanic file pedo extortion cult that targets minors over the internet.
This is a sickness.
Investigators uncovered the heinous group named 764 while probing disturbing social media posts made by Angel Almeida, 23, who was busted in November 2021 and charged with being a convicted felon in possession of a firearm, according to court documents. So this all starts out as like a, this guy's just a typical criminal. But no, ladies and gentlemen. In February, Brooklyn prosecutors announced they had filed a superseding indictment against Almeida, adding charges related to child exploitation and enticement of minors. Prior to Almeida's arrest, the FBI followed anonymous tips that allegedly linked him to social media accounts containing vile posts about
Darkness.
about child abuse, including one Instagram profile that featured a photo of what appeared to be a child bound and gagged.
This is a sickness.
Yuck.
Of the
A
highest
post on
order.
another Almeida's alleged Instagram profile showed him posing with ammunition strapped to his chest in front of a black flag wearing the logo of the Order of Nine Angels, O9A, which prosecutors described as a worldwide Satanist group which embraces elements of neo-Nazism and white supremacy. All right, so this is the gentleman here repping his gang, I guess. And is that crack he's smoking, John? Is that
that is crack?
That's crack, right?
Yeah, that's
this
crack.
man is smoking crack. Now, shout out to all the Satanists that are like, we're just a secular organization. We don't really believe in this. Well, not these guys. These dudes are really on some satanic stuff. All right. When authorities searched Almeida's home, they allegedly found hundreds of files containing child sex abuse material on 4 different devices, as well as books related to O9A and Satanism, according to court documents. They also found a blood covenant, an O9A drawing of a hooded figure surrounded by the group of symbols and smeared with what appears to be blood. The filing state on September 12th, the FBI issued a public notice about 764, a violent online group that is deliberately targeting minor victims on publicly available messaging platforms to extort them into recording or live streaming acts of self-harm and producing child sex abuse material. Yuck. All right, sources told The Guardian the cult is believed to be an offshoot of 098 and that law enforcement discovered the group through the investigation in Almeida's case. Okay, so this dude is strapped up. He got the hoodies. He got all the paraphernalia. The FBI did not immediately return the post request for a comment on Thursday. Members of 760 are thought to use threats, blackmail, and manipulation to get vulnerable youth, particularly by minors, racial minorities, and those with mental health issues, to record acts of self-harm, animal abuse, sex acts, and suicide. The FBI warned the group targets victims through platforms like Roblox. Have you heard of Roblox?
Yeah.
What is Roblox?
Yeah, kids play it. It's like a Minecraft type game.
Oh my
besides,
gosh.
it's like a hub. But anyways.
So they're doing this on kid video games?
Yeah, that's a kid game. Yeah.
Yuck.
Darkness.
Okay, so I'm familiar with Discord and Twitch, as well as curated playlist and the encrypted messaging app, curated SoundCloud playlist and the encrypted messaging app Telegram. So they curate SoundCloud playlists and put them on Telegram. Yikes. Researchers told The Guardian there are likely 764 members, with hundreds more active, trawling these platforms regularly. And what am I looking at? So this is some of their paraphernalia, 666 with the pitchfork. That's a blood covenant? There's blood smeared over these things. This is blood. A covenant signed in blood. May the devil walk with you always.
Satan mini boss.
Satan mini bus.
So goofy.
Yuck.
Yeah.
Yuck. Though the FBI warning earlier this month marked the first time U.S. law enforcement publicly mentioned 764, the circle has already made headlines overseas. A German teen accused of killing his Romanian foster family is believed to have been a participant. The teenager had swastika and 764 tattoos, as well as necro, the same word Almeida used in one of his Instagram usernames, inked on his forearm. In addition to possession of child porn, Almeida is accused of attempting to lure 2 underage girls into activity, one of whom he allegedly targeted for the purpose of producing and disseminating material. The February indictment. As alleged, Almeida posed multiple threats to our community, not only as a felon in possession of a firearm, but also through targeting children as well as abuse. At a recent appearance in Brooklyn federal court, Almeida, who previously served 18 months behind bars in Florida on burglary charges, scoffed at the serious allegations against him. What the F do you even call a minor? You tell me, what's a minor? Huh? What? A minor is a minor. What kind of, what? Earlier in proceedings, Almeida claimed that he was diagnosed with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder in 2018, but had never been medicated for the condition. After a lengthy evaluation process, Almeida was found competent to stand trial this month. So apparently the diagnosis was fake, or even if you have the diagnosis, you can still stand trial?
Yeah.
With schizophrenia?
Yeah, I mean, he sounds schizophrenic. The cult does, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
If convicted, he faces a maximum penalty of life in prison. Almeida's counsel, Benjamin Silverman, did not return the post request for comment.
Darkness.
Wow. What do you make of all this, man?
Well, I mean, it really does sound schizophrenic, right? Because you have, on the one hand, you have, I almost feel like the guy's just trying to find whatever offensive he can. He's like, oh yeah, let's call it necro. You know what I mean? And then for like necrophilia, right? And also he's like, okay, they're taking elements from the KKK, right? Even though he appears to be Mexican. And then he's smoking crack in his picture with his gun. You know what I mean? I was like, so all of this stuff, he's probably just like trying to find whatever he can find, you know, because I don't think that it actually looks like real Satanism, right? You know what I mean?
Well, the group is you know, pretty international, it sounds like.
Okay, so that's what I was trying to wonder too, are they a bigger group?
Yeah, they said
like
700 members online.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they were that big. Okay, I've missed that. So yeah, so I don't know. That is that's weird. I just think it's like, it just looks so goofy to me. Like little kid kind of like, you know, it's almost like those rock bands where they're like, where's your God? You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, so this is my thought. So my thought is, I think people who start out this sort of stuff, John, to troll as like a joke, right? Like, like we're atheist Satanists, right? Like we don't actually believe anything spiritual, right?
You're right.
We just do it to troll. I think what happens is folks who start with that mentality end up dabbling in this stuff and then open up themselves to actual spiritual components. Yeah. And then Satan then actually gets involved as they're opened up to it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think that's where like it goes from like, oh, this dude has because there's a lot of folks got a mental illness. Right, you know what I mean? There's a lot of folks walking around here with schizophrenia that aren't doing this.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a lot of bipolar folks that aren't doing this.
Yeah.
And so I think you go into it dabbling, and then it's just the enemy completely engulfs you. Yeah. And now you're out here really, really trying to victimize kids.
Yeah. That's the worst part too, is all the kids involved, because that stuff's terrible.
As a father, this makes me never want my kids to have the internet. Yeah, like that's where my brain goes, is like, as a dad, we have to be even more vigilant because this stuff is out there.
Yeah, especially, I mean, too, like Roblox, because like my oldest will play Roblox sometimes, but I like how to watch it too, because like some of the games on there too are just really dark. You know what I mean? And so like basically Roblox is kind of like a Minecraft in terms of graphics, right? But you can go into like these different games. So all these developers are creating different games for it. And then some of the games are really dark and stuff like that too. So you got to watch your kids with that stuff too. So it's like, I don't want my kids seeing all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So it's a different world on the internet than it was, because when we were young, was the internet even out? Not really. Not until.
Well, how old are you? You're younger than me.
I'm your
right?
same age. Yeah.
I had to go to the to the library to get on the internet, like in the 90s, like when I was when I was your son's age, when I was our kids' age, and that was super locked down, a lot of filters.
Yeah.
And then I didn't really get the internet until the early 2000s, like in my home. Yeah. And even then, the most you could really do, there was a couple social media sites, but really it was like message boards.
Like, AOL or whatever, the chat rooms
AOL,
and
the
all
chat,
that.
and some message boards. And that was
right. Yeah.
Now it seems like this stuff is embedded everywhere.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's a dark time. I think if I'm if I'm you guys, I would just be very cautious of how you spend your time online, what games you're spending, who you're around, and especially if you have kids, because this stuff is dark. But it just goes to show that like there is an enemy out there, and of course there's going to be a degree of this where it is mental health, but then it is also making really poor choices, and then you're opening up yourself to spiritual stuff. It's like all the above, right? Like it's all the above, and now you have a lot of victims being affected by this stuff, and children, you know, which is the coercion thing, and I don't. Like I hear a lot of this, like, what is it, like revenge porn type stuff against kids, and then it's threatened to be put out, you know,
trafficking, that's part of trafficking,
which is crazy that they're able to manipulate and maneuver in these ways, man. So dark times, guys. So stay in your Bible if you got kids, man.
Watch them.
Stay on their devices, lock down their devices. My son really wants a Apple Watch right now, and we're just kind of like,
I'm trying to delay all that stuff as long as I can.
We see according to the Bible that prayer is extremely important in terms of us being transformed from the inside out when we get aligned with God's will. For the Christians watching this channel, I want you guys to implement these spiritual disciplines in your day-to-day life. And the only way I've been able to do this consistently is through writing down my prayers in a prayer journal that does a few things. One, it allows me to reflect and come to God humbly and ask Him to move on my behalf. And two, it allows me to document my prayers, which ultimately help me remember the very things that I was praying for and see the hand of God tangibly in my life when He answers them. So I would urge you, consider writing down your prayers. It could be in a blank notebook. It could even be on your phone. Or you could check out the one I personally designed and used for my own quiet time and spiritual discipline that I think will be a huge blessing. It's the exact structure and system that I've used for years to pray and be more consistent in my spiritual disciplines. You can pick yours up today by clicking the link in the pinned comment below. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.